Welcome to this week's episode of 0 to a Million, brought to you by Unstack. I'm your host, Zach Rego. Today, I'm joined by Melissa Tavss, founder and CEO of Tipsy Scoops, a liquor-infused ice cream. I am a customer. I'm a believer. I have made some interesting cocktails with ice cream, which I never thought I would do. So, Melissa, thank you for all of that.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Zach, for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. So I'm really excited to learn about your journey. I think it's got some interesting challenges that I'm excited to learn about. You also have some brick and mortar locations. But before we jump into learning about Tipsy Scoops, take me through kind of your background and how you got to where we are today.
Yeah, so I actually started Tipsy Scoop in 2014 when I was at grad school at NYU. Was kind of in between jobs and didn't know what I wanted to do next. So really started making ice cream as a side hobby. So I initially started making ice cream that did not have alcohol and added just a teaspoon of alcohol to my homemade ice cream recipe. I don't know if you ever tried to make homemade ice cream. It comes out really icy on the sides with that like tabletop Cuisinart machine. So recipes call for like just a little alcohol to soften the mixture, get it a little smoother in that ice cream consistency that we know and love. So I started with just a little alcohol and then fell in love with that like vanilla bean bourbon flavor where the bourbon really came through. And just this idea that this was an alcohol infused product or food that actually contained an alcohol content at the end. Unlike if you bake with alcohol, you know that the alcohol is burnt off in the end product. So really was a hobby and then kind of became a full-time thing slowly.
I love it. So you had a foray into, ice cream in your home and as a hobby, but that's not how it all started. I believe your family's been involved with ice cream and manufacturing or creating ice cream for a long time.
Yeah, so it started back in the 1800s, actually, a long time ago. My family brought over gelato from Italy to Scotland. So they were some of the first people to bring over these gelato carts from Italy to Scotland. And of course, gelato at that time was a very novel concept. My great-grandfather was actually president of the Ice Cream Alliance in Great Britain, which I didn't know was a thing. So I kind of, also have this love of genealogy and history and really fell in love with that story about ice cream making and trying to continue in some sort of tradition.
I love it. I love it. So you start in your kitchen, you start toying with recipes. Sounds like vanilla bean and bourbon. Great combo. I made a root beer float out of it this weekend, which was great. I added a little extra bourbon to the root beer, which was also great.
Perfect.
But I would love to dig into how you went from hobby in your kitchen, you're getting your MBA, you're obviously interested in business and launching a business, to, all right, I'm all in on creating liquor-infused ice cream.
Yeah, for sure. So I really started with perfecting the recipe, which was kind of the fun part, I would say. And then did a lot of catering and events. So we had ice cream push carts that I kind of offered for friends' weddings in the beginning, different events of people I used to work with. And that is still a huge part of our business, catering and now virtual catering, which is a whole nother thing. And then from there, started to go to different grocery stores, mostly local kind of small stores, to see if they were interested in carrying the product. So really started slowly, really just was doing things on my own for the first 2 or 3 years. And then got connected with a company called Goldbelly in, I believe, 2015. So we were one of the first people to sign up with Goldbelly as a, drop ship vendor, which was great because we were able to offer our ice cream nationwide, which was obviously a huge market, a little different than the local grocery stores. So
did you go from, boots on the ground, doing events yourself, to grocery stores, to e-commerce? That was kind of the flow there?
Yeah. And it's funny because brick and mortar came even after that.
Right.
But, so those are kind of like our 4 different revenue streams. We have like direct to consumer, online, which we kind of count Goldbelly in that. We have our catering and kind of customization. We have wholesale, and then we have brick and mortar. So having all of those has been great as an ice cream brand that, ice cream shops tend to be really seasonal. So being able to kind of lean on those different categories during different seasons. And in the case of last year, during like crazy world events, has been great too.
Yeah. So how much of the business is direct to consumer through your own site? I don't know, you don't have to give me an exact dollar amount, but I'd be interested in just a percentage of kind of seeing that grow. And as people become more aware of being able to buy food online through companies like Goldbelly, but also buy direct from brands and get it delivered to their door.
Yeah, for sure. So our online business has grown like tremendously, especially since March of last year.
Yeah.
We usually kind of in the past had leaned on direct to consumer online with a focus on gifting over the holiday season. So our focus really shifted from brick and mortar and on premise to all online gifting from November through January. And then this past, March 2020, everything completely changed, and we were so happy to have just updated our website and started to use Shopify, which was great. And B, know how to ship perishables because we were drop shipping through companies like Williams-Sonoma and Goldbelly anyway. So that was a great option and something that has continued to grow and really be steady even as things are opening up now.
Yeah, that's great. And I guess early when you launched that site, what were the marketing channels that drove the traffic that got you to some level of scale on the Shopify store?
Yeah, so the Shopify store is definitely different from our first website or versions of our first website, which I believe were Wix and things I kind of made on my own, which I don't know who ordered on there, but I would have been terrified to place an order on there because it looked like it would never arrive. But the Shopify update, again, I think that we officially made the switch in April of 2020, which was great. So we worked with our developer to make, shipping rules that made sense for perishable shipping, but also made sense for our customers who are really ordering this, whether it be for a gift or an occasion, so that they could kind of get as close to that ship date or delivery date as they wanted to, which is definitely a challenge, but one we think is, really important.
Yeah, so I imagine, though, there's some level, even when you have that Wix site and you're early, there's some level of education that needs to happen. Like, people are not, you can't go to Google Ads and bid on liquor-infused ice cream, mostly because I don't know that the market's totally aware of it. Maybe you can. I was not totally aware of it until I had heard of Tipsy Scoops and found your site. But take me through that process of like acquiring email addresses, like trying to really find parts of the internet that were looking for your product and how you get to any level of scale there.
Yeah. I think another thing, just going back to the different like 4 streams of revenue, like they really lean on each other. So we were able to really like drive home this message of like direct to consumer shipping through our brick and mortar locations. And of course, our one in Manhattan has, a bunch of different tourist traffic. So somebody comes in from North Carolina and they're like, oh, this is great. I just got one scoop. I'm not going to take pints on the plane, obviously. Right. What do I do? We really focused on, staff training that involved that knowledge of, you can have this shipped. Here are some promo codes you can hand out. Here's this, here's that. So it's not just the experience of like buying a scoop one time. It's like we have all of these options available.
And how do you continue to keep those folks engaged? Like you mentioned events or gifts, which are very transactional. Like I honestly have a pint of ice cream in my fridge at all time, whether it has booze in it or not. Right now it happens to have booze in it. But I do think there is some level of like events driven, gifts driven. How do you keep folks engaged and, returning and kind of increase the LTV over time?
Yeah, definitely. So we have so many flavors. We have limited edition seasonal flavors all the time. Awesome. And do really fun collaborations with brands. I don't know if we sent you this one because we probably didn't have enough of it, but probably our most successful collaboration was with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey.
I saw that. Right.
That went viral on TikTok. And I think that was like our biggest web sales day. I think that was March of this year awesome. When that came out on TikTok. And of course, we couldn't figure out why we were getting so much traffic to the site because there's so many different platforms now.
Screwball is one of the brands that I'm honestly familiar with them because of TikTok. So they've done a good job, and whether they're doing this or not, but obviously I assume they're doing it just based on how influencer marketing works, to find those folks that are creating cocktails on TikTok and interesting cocktails with weird combinations that they make seem great. And one of them I've seen often is Screwball. So that's super interesting. They had some success there. Have y'all invested directly in influencer market, be it through, kind of the foodie influencer space or even the cocktailer influencer space?
Yeah. So we have a pretty big following on social media, and it's funny because that is really what forced us to open brick and mortar locations as well. In like 2016, when all these like Facebook videos were coming out from Insider Food or Food Network, Insider Food came into our kitchen space and filmed us making ice cream, pouring the alcohol into the machine, the ice cream coming out. And that video went viral, got like 10 million views and wow. The first day. And people came to our kitchen warehouse looking for the shop that they had seen on this video. And of course we didn't have a shop. So it was like crazy. I don't even know how they found it. But they were coming nonstop. So that's how we were kind of forced into brick and mortar. At the same time, like it's funny because we just really listened to customers. And that kind of, like I said, that scoop at the shop or Sunday, like isn't enough. It's like, oh, well, how can I get more of this? How can I send this to somebody? How can I get this at my home? So, kind of listening to that and figuring out what's the next step to, be able to offer this even, beyond our brick and mortar locations.
That's interesting. You've done an amazing job of kind of navigating to where the market's either taking you or telling you to go, which some people sometimes fight that for better or worse. And sometimes there is a level of focus that needs to be had, but you've kind of been in the right spot a bunch of times, I think, with Good Belly, obviously helping you understand the commerce space. And then, that piece of content helping you understand that people are knocking on my door. I need to create a place for them to go. Have you made those brick and mortar stores, and I haven't spent any time at them yet, shareable, meaning like, are there a lot of places for Instagram photos to be shared? Because a lot of the content, it looks like that I've seen you share has been from consumers or from folks that are kind of resharing what they've created with you.
Yeah, definitely. And that was kind of like the problem in the beginning when people just like found our warehouse and they were coming there seeing us just make ice cream and hairnets. And we're like, this isn't really the like shareable experience we want you to have. So, the brick and mortar, it really kind of just reflects the whole brand and the setup being, not just an ice cream shop, but this kind of like hybrid between a bar and an ice cream shop. But I think one of the really cool things about the pandemic and like kind of this really crazy increase in digital sales and people getting things shipped directly to their door is how people like create their own kind of experiences at home. And I think you mentioned like you made this root beer float. Like it's been really cool to see how people interact with your product when you're not like telling them how to interact or like, making something for them. So that's been really neat too.
So you've got over 100,000 followers on Instagram, which is amazing. Is that your kind of number one channel, or do you still rely on, paid advertising through social? Obviously, we talked a little bit about influencer and then obviously email marketing as kind of main channels to communicate with your customers.
Yeah, Instagram is definitely how a lot of people find us, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok now. But yeah, we do a lot of email marketing. We do a lot of different win back programs because there's like you said, in the beginning, it was kind of like explaining to people that food could be shipped to their door.
Yep.
And now it's like explaining to them the cost of that or like how it's going to happen. So like for us, that's kind of like we have a pretty high abandonment rate on our website. So it's really important for us to kind of win people back by like explaining to them the process of like, no, you can order the ice cream on this date if you want to get it on this date, or, you know, oh, like have it shipped this way if you need to save on this. Like, so there's still a lot of, people that don't understand that you're going to get ice cream, it's going to be frozen, and it's going to be delicious.
Yeah, and it shows up fast. I mean, I
Yes.
was really impressed with how fast it showed up, and it was certainly frozen.
It has to show up fast.
Right,
yeah.
totally. So, what channels are you most excited about? You mentioned, Instagram, Facebook, and now TikTok. Obviously, email and refining that. I mean, what are you for the next 6-12 months like? We are going to, continue to double down in this area because we feel like it's starting to gain some traction.
Yeah. So something really cool that we're working on. So beyond, traditional shipping, which is available on our website, we also kind of invested in different tech features on our site to be able to offer really easy like pickup and delivery from any of our locations. Also have kind of developed this virtual catering platform, which has been really popular for corporate gifting. So we host virtual ice cream cocktail parties where we send kits to different participants of a company and then host them on Zoom, showing them how to make your, root beer float or whatever it might be. So done that, and we will be starting to work with, or we're in 2 markets with a ghost kitchen program. So we'll be able to also offer local delivery in markets where we don't have a brick and mortar on our website too.
Right.
So you check out and you'll be able to pick between pickup, local delivery, or shipping. So there's just a multitude of options depending on how you want your ice cream to get there.
That's great. And is the ghost kitchen also able to be ordered through, I know a lot of ghost kitchens are being created to then go through a Grubhub or a DoorDash. Is that something that I'll start seeing on people's menus to be able to add Tipsy Scoops, or is this going to be strictly kind of through your site and then fulfilled through those networks?
Yeah, so we're actually doing a little bit of both. So
Cool.
the Grubhub kind of DoorDash Postmates is a great way to like acquire new customers. But obviously we want to like have all available options on our site for everybody. So we'll be kind of doing the D2C and then the delivery apps as well.
That's very exciting.
Yeah.
Love the story. Love that it started boots on the ground, pushing the push cart. And certainly, like I mentioned, I mean, just an incredible job kind of navigating this business. One last question for you. Biggest challenge you see in kind of the D2C and the food and beverage space for the next 6 to 12 months, because there are a ton of folks entering this space with really interesting products. I don't think in the boozy ice cream space I've not seen, but would love to hear where you've seen, challenges arising.
Yes. I would say last holiday season was the craziest holiday season for direct to consumer anything ever.
Yeah.
I know there were just like, it's getting crowded. So there were like shipping delays, beyond imaginable, and to the point where tracking numbers were not existing for packages. So, it was tough for something that is super perishable that needs to get there really quickly. So, in seeing that, we love the option of overnight shipping. We think it's great, but we're also kind of seeing that there's a need for local delivery and stuff like that for, this space, because it is becoming so crowded, which is great.
Yeah.
because you can get anything delivered to your door pretty much anytime. So
yeah, no, I think you have an interesting approach with the ghost kitchen to create that experience and eliminate, the couriers of the world that are flying something from one place to another. And again, I've blocked last holiday season out of my mind.
That's good.
But I imagine we are running into very soon some similar experiences as, the holiday orders start getting placed. My mother-in-law is already bugging me for my son's Christmas list so that she can place the orders now because she's traumatized after last year. So, Melissa, thank you so much for jumping on. Amazing story. I really loved hearing it and your journey. Where should everyone go follow either you or Tipsy Scoops?
Yeah, just at tipsyscoop.com.
Awesome. And the Instagram handle is Tipsy Scoop as well.
Yeah.
And you can follow them there. They've got awesome content, very appetizing, along with some new drink ideas for me, which I love. So, Melissa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.